Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Are women really turned on by intelligent men? Yeah, this should be interesting. And on the for real, just to make this clear from the outset, when I say women, I mean all women, regardless of their race. Just want to make that clear from the get go. This isn't one of those what the sisters are doing wrong, but other women are doing right videos. This is something I've seen across the board. And the question is, are women really turned on by intelligent men? I would say this is my position on that. They are not so much turned on by the intelligence itself. Despite what women say, despite the ones calling themselves sapiosexuals, they're not turned on by the intelligence themselves. This isn't something that I've seen, and I've seen a lot. And this isn't something in anyone else's research that they've really seen. My argument is that women are not turned on by the intelligence. They appreciate it, it's a part of the equation at best. But if a woman says she's turned on by intelligence, a closer examination will show that there's something else about the man that turns her on, or the intelligence is just representative of something else. For example, many women will say they'll see a guy they find physically attractive, whatever their standard of physical attractiveness is. Then they appreciate it if they can connect to that person. They'll say, well, he's so intelligent and all of that. No, what it is, they're able to have a conversation with that person, but the real attraction is that person's physicality. That's the real attraction. It's just like with some men, more mature men, they'll meet a woman who has that killer body, but she's dumb as bricks. The more mature man won't deal with her. With women, many of them are like that. They'll meet a guy and they'll say he was fine until he opened his mouth. Now, the intelligence for them is not maybe a raw intelligence, but just really a good conversationalist. They'll say, "Oh, he was so intelligent." No, really, they're just saying that so they don't look shallow. But they know they ain't turned on by that dude's eyes or the dude's big chest or something. The intelligence is just, that's just a bonus. That's icing on the cake. That's like that new car shine and stuff. But the basics of what's turning them on is the man's body. And that's some cases. That's not even all cases. Another case where women will say, well, I'm only turned on by intelligent men. And it looks like it at first because what they'll do is they will skip over a good looking guy. They'll appreciate the good looking man. And it'll look like, oh, well, they really want intelligence. No, that intelligence that they turned on by is really the man's money making ability, his ability to bring resources. The thought that the women will have is that they will, they meet this guy, he's intelligent, he's educated. Um, they're thinking money, resources. They thinking what that does that intelligence lead to? Because let me break down something, and this I'm gonna blow up that whole sapiosexual thing because I've met so many women who say they're sapiosexuals. I'm only attracted to that, or I've met some women who said they're demisexuals. They only attracted to an emotional connection to a man. Two things you will find, I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Two things you will find with um, those women who claim they're searching just for that emotional connection or that so-called intelligent man. You will find that the man that they're attracted to, who they say has these things, is physically attractive, or he has money, or he has a good paying job, or he has the potential to make a lot of money. because it always comes down to those two things, no matter what. And the reason I'm calling out that whole concept, because if a woman was really attracted to just intelligence, if that was the primary thing, that man wouldn't need to look good and he could be dead broke. You have plenty of people who would score high on the numerous IQ tests out there who have like a high intelligence, and they're not really making that much money. Now, I remember there was a that TV show Jeopardy. I remember there was a brother on there. That brother, that brother, and this was years ago. And I remember watching this, and this brother, I mean, this brother just knew everything. This brother was very well spoken, highly intelligent. He could just answer. Yeah, ironically, he could answer all the questions except the sports questions. I mean, it was incredible. I was just like, wow. He was probably a savant like that. But when they talked about what they did for a living, he was an elevator operator. Now, my question is, would a woman really be turned on who say they're turned on by intelligence? Would they still go out with that dude, even though he's an elevator operator? And you have a lot of very intelligent men like that. Or you might have you might even have a man who's very intelligent. I'll give you a great example. I've known guys who have gone through law school, graduated, barred and everything. But instead of taking a corporate route, they want to help in the community. So they might help with some legal aid where they're not going to make money, or work with poor people, or not really maximize their potential. And that's not just the legal field. You might have some doctors who, instead of making money, they go out there and they help the poor. They basically giving their time. They might just try to make just enough money just to keep a roof over their head. How many women will stick with that guy if he's not also physically attractive? See, I think that's a smokescreen. See, women don't like that image. If they say they're going for money, they get called gold diggers. If they say they go for looks, they're getting called shallow. Even, I mean, it would be honest. But I think it's very disingenuous for them to say that they're just interested in a man's intellect, because then nothing else should turn them on. If they truly turned on by that, that man should be homeless. But if he can have an intelligent conversation, that should turn them on. Because if you are truly turned on by something, the other stuff doesn't matter. If a woman is just turned on by money and she's woman enough to admit that, she's not going, that man could, he can look like Quasimodo. And as long as he has money, she's going to get with him if that's what turns her on. Or if a woman is only turned on by a man's physicality, like he has to be 6'4" and muscular with pretty eyes and full head of hair or something like that. Nothing else is going to turn her on. Whatever, even people who have fetishes for different things, that's what's going to turn them on. Everything else is irrelevant. But if you notice with these women who say they like intelligent men, there's always something else in there. And it's never the primary thing. And this isn't something I'm just making up. I've talked with these women, I've seen them. I've had women tell me, oh, well, they're sapiosexual or demisexual, but they always have a physical preference in a man, like a distinct physical presence, preference rather. They always have something else is always there. It's never the primary thing or the only thing. But what it is the thing that they tell you. And really, I don't think they identify it the right way. Because even on some of these dating sites, the women still get to look at that picture. Now, what it would be more honest for women to say is that he has to have some intelligence. That's fair. That's fair right there. But don't act like that's the primary thing. All right, don't do that. There are plenty of intelligent men out there who, well, no, let me put it another way. And I'm gonna break this down simply. This is something anybody could attest to. If these women who claim they like intelligence, who claim that's the thing that turns them on, then how is it they will reject a man if he doesn't look a certain way when he approaches them? That means whenever a man approaches them, if they, in order for them to find out if he's intelligent, that means they have to engage him in conversation. They can't do the usual few seconds and decide, because the thing about intelligence, it isn't a physical thing. Some of the most intelligent people on the planet, or in any situation, never look like it. They never look intelligent. I know guys out here who are unkept. They look like just a straight gully type of thug, not the pretty boy thug that you see on a show like Power, but they like the straight up unkept, maybe slightly out of shape type of thug, like just bum looking dude. But you talk with them and they shoot, they have a high IQ. In fact, a lot of high IQ people, truly high IQ people, they might not be, they're not going to be the most social people sometimes, and they also introverted. So if a woman's really attracted to intelligence, how would she find out without getting past, would she really truly get past that man's physical appearance, or even the appearance of money? Because the ones who want that intelligent man related to money, if that man doesn't look like money, they're not going to deal with him. I mean, how can they? In fact, the only way you can find out intelligence at the very minimum, you're going to have maybe a 30-minute conversation with. Uh, they would have to have a 30-minute conversation with that man, and even then, they might not find anything, which means they have to get to know him. But often, that's not going to happen. Now, a woman knows if some dude approaches her, because I say women choose the men, but most women ain't going to approach a man. They only got is the visual thing, and there's no look of intelligence. Shoot, there's no look. You can't tell if somebody's intelligence just off a look. It doesn't match. It's an intangible thing. So how can they really? How what they are doing to find out? Because like I said, I'm gonna reiterate it. If they get approached by some bum looking dude, if they get approached by some bum looking dude, they gonna pass them up. In fact, let me tell y'all a story. Because I just remembered this one dude, and if he ever hears this, yeah, I don't know. But it was with, I remember years ago, me and it was a group of black men. We were working on a project. And, this is for those women out there think black men aren't doing something. We're always doing something. In fact, that particular project is still going on to this day. But if y'all want to know, y'all got to know some. I don't share everything I do, but just say it's already having an impact on the community. Anyway, I digress. Um, I remember it was a meeting, and it was a group, it was three or four of three or four brothers, and we were discussing some serious stuff. And then after that, but one of the brothers brought this dude, and I was like, what the fuck? This dude, I mean, his hair was unkept, looked like he hadn't seen a barber, looked like he hadn't bathed. Um, I mean, this at one point, this dude actually picked up a cigarette butt off the ground. I was like, what the fuck is this dude here for? Like I said, he was a friend of one of the people in this project, right? And I remember we had a study group meeting that included some women later on that evening, right? And for whatever reason, he was brought along, and I'm looking at this dude. I'm like, all right, got close enough to him to see he didn't smell. So I was like, what the fuck? And once we got there, it was interesting. One, he kind of clicked with the women right away. I mean, this dude showed himself to be like a culinary genius, right? But then, even before then, even at the meeting, you start listening to this dude, and it was like, wait a minute, this dude is a cold-blooded genius. Even though he looked like, I mean, on the surface, he looked like hygiene wasn't a priority on the surface. But this dude, I mean, this dude was just sharp. This dude was on some other level. He had a social intelligence. Um, this dude knew, ironically, knew how to get money and stuff. He knew a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, the same man who picked up a cigarette butt off the damn ground. He was highly intelligent. And, I mean, once the women got to know him, they were like feeling him, right? But let's be real. In most cases, women going to see that guy and they're not going to feel that guy. But a woman who is truly turned on by intelligence would get with him. Because he had it in spades. Even, I mean, the women there recognized that. Ain't just what the fellas respected it once he started talking. And the women, shoot, they were giggling and everything. So this dude, that was like, but how often is that going to be the case? You know, if you turned on by intelligence, that means I'm gonna tell you what, that means a whole paradigm out here. If these women are turned on by intelligence, if that's the primary thing, that means the whole paradigm for many women has to change. That means every single guy that approaches them, they're gonna have to give him a chance because he might have that intelligence they're looking for. But we know that's not the case. Women are judging on that appearance. They looking to see if he visibly represents he might have some resources and money. That's part of the reason why women check out clothes and especially shoes, and also if he's just physically appealing to them. So one of the things I would say is this: no, to answer the original question, no, I don't think women are truly attracted to intelligence as a primary thing. I honestly think women, they see that as part of the big picture, which they should just say. He has to have some intelligence. If they just say that along with the other things, I think that's fair. I can respect that. But quite frankly, get the fuck out of here saying that intelligence is the most primary thing. It's bullshit. Because even the women who say that, you look at the men and it's like, yeah, but dude look like a fashion model. And I've seen this. I've seen this. So anyway, that's it for today. I get back with y'all later. Peace.